Are you considering a pivot from your current career into the field of health and safety? This video is something that you might find useful. What I want to offer is just a few of my thoughts to help you make that leap. There's not an insignificant amount of people that come into health and safety from places like the police force or the armed forces or other emergency services. Or you could have gotten to a point in your career where you've been involved in operations for, a number of years, and you want to take that next step, perhaps move into a management role. Management roles are often, obviously, higher paying. So let's kind of compare health and safety to some of these other management roles. And when we look at how an organization is usually run, typically there are a number of functions that need to be managed. Some of the typical ones are finance, you've got IT, information technology, HR, human resources, sales and marketing, etc. In comparison to all of those different functions, I think health and safety probably provides the best opportunity to make a smooth transition from maybe an operational role into a management role. Let's take information technology as an example. I'm not saying it can't be done, but if you're say 30 years old and you're thinking of making a change in your career and you've got an interest in computers or something, and you think, oh, I know, I'll go for I'll see if I can get an IT manager job or start working in that field. I think that's going to be quite a hard transition, because you're going to be competing with a lot of people that are in IT were involved with computers before they even entered the world of work. So you've got a lot of catching up to do if you want to be competitive in the job market. As I said, not saying it can't be done, but I'm saying as compared to health and safety, it's going to be a much harder transition. Same sort of thing with finance. I mean, if you haven't got a head for numbers, you're probably not thinking about making a switch to finance anyway. But even if you were, it's not going to be as smooth a transition, because it's completely different from what you might already have been doing in an operational role. Sales and marketing is becoming it already is actually mind-bogglingly complicated and complex. It doesn't represent a viable option for many people. The barrier to entry to some of these other management functions is very high, whereas I think with the barrier, if there even is a barrier to health and safety, it's a lot lower than the barrier to some of these other management functions. The thing with health and safety is it deals with very practical, everyday stuff that everybody tends to just naturally understand. Things that can harm people and control measures that can be put in place to prevent that harm, and management systems that can be built to ensure that these control measures work effectively over the long term. It's all pretty simple and straightforward. So it's kind of, the health and safety field is a little bit more accessible than some of these other management functions, and therefore it creates a really good opportunity for people at a certain stage in their career, sort of mid-career or maybe even earlier, to consider pivoting into the health and safety management function. I think as well, experience counts for a lot in health and safety. If you're sort of mid-career, you probably know quite a bit about health and safety already. If you're working in a job that has got various hazards, and let's face it, that's pretty much any job, you're already going to have come into contact with the components of health and safety. If you're working in a high hazard industry, that experience that you've built up over the years, that really counts for something. I mean, if you've got a load of experience, a load of operational experience under your belt already, you might actually know more or be in a better position to make a big impact on health and safety than the outgoing health and safety manager. You might already know more than them. And if an opening does come up in your organisation for a health and safety manager, get in there is my advice. Go for it, because you'll probably do well with the experience that you've already got. I think, again, to compare and contrast it to other management functions, the experience that you build up working in an operational capacity really does hold more value for a health and safety role than it would for a sales and marketing role, for example. If you've never worked in sales and marketing before and an opening comes up and you decide to go for it, you're going to have a hard time convincing an employer that it would be a good idea to take you on unless you can demonstrate a solid track record in sales and marketing. But if you're going from operations to a vacant health and safety role, you're already going to have, in all likelihood, many instances where you've made a positive contribution to effective health and safety. Before we continue, if you're considering a move towards working in health and safety, it's absolutely essential that you're well prepared. That's why I want to take a quick second to let you know that you can study for the NEBOSH Managing Safely or the NEBOSH General Certificate, both national and international versions, online with us at Stockwell Safety. So if you're ready to take the first step towards a rewarding career in health and safety, see the links in the description to explore our industry-leading e-learning, NEBOSH and NEBOSH courses. So if you're thinking about making that pivot into health and safety, I say go for it. Get trained first, and the course I recommend for health and safety professionals is the NEBOSH General Certificate. That's kind of regarded as the industry standard qualification that health and safety professionals need. And then you can build on that as you progress down that career path. But what I'd be interested in is hearing from people that have already made that pivot and were working in perhaps even a different sector, or had a different job role with the same employer, but then took on a health and safety role. How did you find it? Was it a positive move? Were there any negative elements, negative aspects to it? Do you regret it? And what advice would you have for somebody thinking about making a move, a pivot into the health and safety sector? Let us know your thoughts and any advice and guidance that you've got on the matter down in the comment section.